Welcome to the BPRC, the Black People's Republic of China. We are back. We had to take a little hiatus because I had to get reorganized and do a couple of things. And it may work, it may not. But here we are, still expressing positivity and love, sharing my experience. Let's go. I love that track. So that is a wonderful track. Welcome to the BPRC. I'm your host, Gary, and we're going to try to do something a little bit different where I just record while I'm actually doing the show. It may work, it may not work. But as always, let me say this. This podcast shit is not easy, right? It's a whole lot of planning that you won't expect to happen that has to go into it just to make it look a little bit decent. But before that, I just wanted to say that. So, but as always, the format hasn't changed. We got to give praise to my Lord Savior, Jesus Christ, Heavenly Father, the BPRC way. Thank you, God. I need you. I need you. Heavenly Father, thank you, Lord, for this voice that you've given us and given me to spread and share positivity with the rest of the world. We thank you, God. And that is how we give praise at the beginning of every show for the BPRC. Today, we are discussing the U.S. and China relations. I'm bringing in a guest who is, it's been a long time since I've actually heard someone speak with the intelligence and the fluidity that this man speaks with. He's just extremely knowledgeable and impressive. So I had to have him on the show. He's an entrepreneur in China, in Africa, in London. I'm sure he'll tell you his story, but we're going to have Sam on as a guest. But we're going to talk about the U.S. and China, why we are beefing. Like, what is it about? Because here's the thing. We're fighting each other. The two countries are fighting. Two nations are fighting. But honestly, there's so much bullshit and so much lies between the two. The nationals, like myself, the Americans and the Chinese, we don't even really know why we're fighting. We just know that they're telling us China's the reason for the pandemic. China's the reason why the world is fucked up right now. China's saying America's the reason why the world's fucked up right now. America's the reason why the economy is slowing down. And you know what I'm saying? So it's just a bunch of like children blaming each other. So we're going to get deeper into that and give you an in-depth look of the history between the two. And again, everything that I say is to be taken with speculation. It's not fact. It's researched, but it's not fact. Anything researched is not fact because I haven't spoken to the people who are actually involved, right? So these are just my opinions. Again, this is my podcast, my platform, and my voice, right? So this is just the way I want to express what I'm thinking. So we're gonna get into that. And after giving you a 20-year history, we'll go into things like, why is it so hostile? Of course, we cannot forget the games. We cannot forget Blackout. We cannot forget, but I got a little surprise for you. We might not do Blackout today. I got a little surprise for you. We're also going to do Alphabet Soup. And then we're going to introduce some new music. We always got to have the music, the BPRC way. So let's get right into it. 20-year history. Here's a fact for you. The U.S. lobbied for China to enter the World Trade Organization, right? Which that is important because it allowed China to be in the game as far as a trade nation. Before, China wasn't a trade nation, and that just happened in the 2000s, right? So that has helped China go from essentially the bottom straight to the top. They didn't stop nowhere in the middle. They went straight to the top. and why they are so powerful right now. And also over the past few years, we've been fighting over the pandemic. We've been fighting over trade, over money, and we've been fighting over system, which is ridiculous to me, right? China wants to keep control of their system, their segregative system. America wants people to be free. When in actuality, no one's free. Not even here in this country, we're not free. And my thing is a little tidbit thought. We out here fighting for other countries like Hong Kong and China and Iran and Afghanistan out here for their people to be free, but we not fighting for our own goddamn people to be free. I'm sitting here free but locked up. Go figure that. That's just my thoughts. We're going to talk about the deflation of power, how China is becoming a powerhouse, and how they want to maintain that authority, So we're gonna get into it. We're gonna get into it a little bit. Let's go right into giving this call. Let me talk to my man. Excuse me while I make the call. Again, this podcast shit is not easy, especially if you're doing it by yourself, because you gotta press play over here, stop over here, man, look at your phone and call this and your notes and come on, I need a team. Please, somebody help me get this content out. I need a team, seriously. All right, let's call Sam.
Hello.
Mr. Sam, how are you today, brother? How's everything going?
Yeah, I'm good. I've had a pretty good start to the week. It's approaching the last week of the month, so a lot of things to finish off, wrap up. So it's been a very busy and very productive start to the week.
Good. So you're
excited to be invited onto this podcast, and I'm ready to share.
Yeah, brother. So first of all, let me welcome you to the BPRC, the Black People's Republic of China. This is a podcast that I set up to give my experiences of being Black, living in China, but somehow it's just turned into just my thoughts as a Black man living abroad. So I try to have guests on that also live abroad and have that experience. And as a matter of fact, you're from the UK. You're in the UK now. Is that correct?
Yes, I'm Kenyan. I'm Kenyan, but I grew up in the UK. I'm currently under lockdown rules or guidelines in the UK, although businesses return to normal at the beginning of July. But there's still the lingering crisis ongoing in the area that I live in.
Right.
So just waiting for things to clear up, and then we'll be back to normal.
Right. So we're all fighting that. We're all fighting that new way of life and just kind of sustaining right now. And it's like, I don't even call it the new way of life anymore. It's just life right now because it's not new. We're 6 months in.
Yeah, it's true. That's absolutely true. I think even though we're trying to quote unquote get back to normal, as I said earlier, I don't think there ever will be a normal. Now that COVID-19 crisis has hit, I think things will continue to change. It might be a bad change, it might be a good change. It just depends on how you adjust with the circumstances. For all those who have suffered and lost, it's going to be entirely. It's just an entirely different way of living. So, yeah. Let's see how we cope and let's see how we react to these changes.
Right. So, all right. So, Sam, let's get into it, man. We're talking about the relations today, the U.S.-China relations, And, I gave my brief introduction, and I kind of told people how intelligent you were and how I was really impressed with the way with the way that you speak and, your content and things like that. So let me ask you, we're going to go through a couple topics. Let me ask you the first topic. Over the last 20-year history, Sam, can you tell the people, in your opinion, do you know why we're fighting? Because I know why I think we're fighting, but what's your opinion on why the two nations are in a brawl? I should say. It's not a brawl, but...
Okay, well...
Go ahead.
Okay, well, I hope I'm not... I hope I live up to the hype.
I'm sure you will. I'm sure you will.
But I think I'll just give my honest views. I think that the U.S.-China relationship should be a productive one. Originally, the relationship was China manufactures, the U.S. consumes, and then the relationship has slowly turned to U.S. manufacturers and China consumes. But I would have thought there was a balance there between the two nations, and therefore there would be opportunities to work together. I think that because of the history between the two nations, there's likely to be some animosity felt between the two countries.
Animosity, good word.
Obviously yes, well, I think it's not right. I've got to be fair. I think that there's got to be a level of maturity in both markets. People need to more forward thinking, seeing, 10, 20, 100 years in the future. This is something, or a way of thinking that obviously previously we didn't think like that. But
right.
I mean, now, hindsight bias allows us to see these opportunities in the future and create those opportunities in the future. So I think we should be creating more bonds of trade. And
so Sam, tell me this. So we both agree that trade is the reason for the animosity. But do you know why? So the way I understand it is that a recent trade agreement was signed in 2017. And from the research that I've done, America feels like China is neglecting that deal, because the deal was that we would soften the tariffs and they would demilitarize in terms of the South China Sea. So it's known. Okay. It's known that the South China Sea is more militarized now than it was 2 years ago. So that's what really it's fear from America, because the South China Sea is our only connection to that side of the world. If a military strike was to happen. What do you think? What are your thoughts?
We kind of got into the military side of things, but military was set up to protect business interests. Let's not go into this idea of policing the world, because I think that's a farce. Military was set up initially to protect business interests. If you take a look at the history between China and the U.S. in terms of the Industrial Revolution, American businesses, when they entered China, they were given access to a free market, and they kind of exploited that access.
Right.
This is not something that this is not something that is new. This even happened in the U.S. with the free market. That's why the phrase robber baron came about. Companies like Rockefeller, very famous in exploiting gaps in markets and creating monopolies, and that historically happened between obviously the US and China in regards to Rockefeller. So when we take a look,
and before you go, what's Rockefeller? For the listeners that don't know, what is Rockefeller? I know it's a powerful organization, but can you just kind of briefly go over what Rockefeller is?
Yeah. Rockefeller it was the owner of Standard Oil. They are a massive oil company that basically grew out of the transport, the shipments of oil around America via rail, and then monopolized because of its control over the transportation of oil from one point of America to another. And because of these profits, they were able to expand outside of the U.S.
Right.
And their dollars went to work in a lot of different countries and exploited a lot of different countries up until the antitrust with Chester Aoki that came up with the breakup of the monopoly that Standard Oil had and created smaller companies. I say smaller. One of those small companies is Onando. So
right. It's not smaller. Right. They're still giants.
So, yeah, they're still giants. And anyway, I digress. The main thing was as the U.S. military supported America's business expansion, the U.S. military was quite active in the Asia theater, and they were safeguarding their trade, their transport, their imports, their exports, especially during the first industrial revolution period in the 19th century with China, and it continued up until the Second World War with I want to call it the Marshall Plan, but I think Asia had a different plan under General MacArthur. They had a different form of American expansion in Asia.
So that
basically the military was there to safeguard business interests, American business interests, Western business interests in Asia, and in doing so, it's oppressed a lot of different Asian business communities and Asian societies, and in doing so, China pretty much wanted to safeguard its own, wanted to determine its own business interests by itself.
Which is only natural.
So they militarized.
It's only natural.
Yes.
If you're protecting your interests, we're growing, why wouldn't we protect ours?
Yes, that's very true. I would like to be as diplomatic as possible. Obviously, America had been doing business in Asia for hundreds and hundreds of years.
Right.
And then all of a sudden, a country decides, hey, we're going to take away your margin, we're going to start doing things ourselves. America's naturally going to feel a certain way about that. And, China is obviously going to say, well, if you're allowed to be free, we should also be allowed to be free. So there's going to be that balance of power in that particular area, and obviously I believe that China has every right to determine its own area of influence in Asia and in China, and other nations in Asia should discuss with China and say, okay, this is okay, that's not okay, let's discuss it, let's make this, let's come to a compromise and let's agree on things. I personally don't understand America's militarization in this area other than to safeguard its own business interests.
So let me just give you some.
I think the diplomatic response I think the diplomatic response there would be China's business interests can be America's business interests. If there were better trade relationships between China and the U.S., then they would just have one interest.
Well, let's just be clear. The two economies are intertwined, right? So the silliness of the whole thing, is China's business interests are American business interests. America's business interests are Chinese business interests. So, I just wanted to kind of, and we'll kind of move on to the next topic, because again, I like to keep a time restraint on this, because, most people, they only listen for so long. So, and then we could kind of debate this.
I understand.
We could debate this for hours and hours and hours if we really wanted to. So, But
it's such a it's such a long topic, so I understand.
Yeah.
Although I've got to be careful I've got to be wary to tell you that yes, there might be some intertwining between the two economies, but China will look after its own interests, and the U.S. will look after its own interests.
Right.
So, you never really understand who.
Right.
You never really understand if they're actually working together or if they're arguing with each other. So you always try to find a diplomatic balance between the two.
So I was listening to a reporter, and then so what I want to ask you next is, why, in your opinion, why does China see the U.S. as an enemy, and then why does the U.S. see China as hostile? But before you answer it, I was watching a Chinese reporter who now lives in China. I think her name is Simone Gao, and in her little journalism video that I was watching, she was interviewing Steve Bannon, and he was saying that I don't know if this is true or not, but the government of China, there's this whole rhetoric about how the CCP it's a criminal organization, like they're mobsters, right? And that they steal money from the government, turn it into cash, and then they send their money around the world to hide it, which is no different from every other criminal organization. Shit, the mob in America steals money and then hides it in other countries too, right? But I said that to say this: is the hostility and the animosity, like you said, good word, I'm gonna steal your word again, because I stole your word in the platform the other day of empathy. Does it really come down to deflation of power, like the student becomes the teacher, and how the misorganization of agreements, like what does it really come down to? Why are we seeing them as hostile, and why are they seeing us as an enemy?
Well, I guess I kind of answered this question before. The U.S. has had a hegemony in the area. They've had control. They've had first rights, first dibs as the larger economy and the quote-unquote strongest economy in Asia for a very long time. But I mean, at the end of the day, the USA is not an Asian nation.
Right.
So there's always going to be a time in U.S.'s quote-unquote lifetime, if I could say that, where they're going to have to allow for, and I mean, allow for is the wrong word here, but there needs to be self-determination from various nations around the world. I don't think that any nation wants another nation to be meddling in their affairs ever. So whether it's number one economy, number two economy, doesn't matter.
Good point.
I think that ultimately China needs to be able to decide what it's going to do in China.
Right.
So if China decides that in its own territory it's going to militarize and protect its business interests within China, then of course it's going to do that. And then when China militarizes and does so, naturally the U.S. is going to feel a certain way about that because it has bases in exactly the same area.
So that's what's happening.
The real question is, I think the real question is, would China feel a certain way or be so defensive if U.S. military bases were not anywhere near China's area of influence?
Right.
Now that's a question that many people have asked, but it's nobody knows. You would have to guess.
Right.
Now, obviously, the historical context means that the U.S. has a number of military bases in that area to quote unquote safeguard its interests. But again, the USA is nowhere near Asia. Why is it there?
Well, yeah. Okay, so
the Second World War is over. The Cold War is over. Sure enough,
we're there because that's what
South Korea.
That's what America America does. They don't mind their own fucking business. Excuse my language, but this is the BPRC. This is not formal. They don't mind their business. We always want to meddle in somebody else's stuff and just kind of put our stamp on it for some reason, you know, our interest into it for some reason, and we mask it as helping a people, you know what I mean? And you know, this is one of the things I don't agree with. I agree with you. Why are we over there? At the same time, I also agree with us being over there because there's some hostile thoughts going on from other people, not Asia, but other people that are in that area that want to destroy us for sure. You know, so
yeah, I think that it's all about diplomacy. I think if U.S. decided that they were going to take a council approach where they would purely be advisors, military advisors, supporting a nation's interests, military interests, then sure. And then, you know, the UN or another international governing body could administer exactly how the U.S. uses its armies within non-U.S. territories. That makes sense. But when U.S. becomes an aggressor in non-U.S. territories, that's when people, you have to ask questions.
right.
Every nation has a right, a human right to self-determine, a right to determine its own politics. If those politics go against or violate certain human rights issues, then absolutely the UN or other international government bodies can say, yeah, this is wrong. Other nations think it's wrong. I think that because other nations think it's wrong, and as a consensus, humanity feels that the way that this nation is being governed is incorrect and it should be upgraded, then again, you're counseling. You're not telling another nation to do something. No, you're counseling. You're saying, okay, as you can see, this is not the right way to do it. This is the right way to do it because your citizens, your population are being hurt or are being robbed of their human rights.
Well, let's be clear.
You've got to demonstrate this. You can't just go there and start telling people how to run their nation.
Well, let's be clear. Let's be clear.
I don't think that's the best way to be diplomatic.
We tried that. We tried that in Afghanistan, in the Middle East, right? We tried to just counsel, and look how that turned out until this day. The longest war ever, from starting with a counseling. And also, we tried that counseling thing in Taiwan in 1954, and look what that has got us, right? So, you know, you might not want America to come in and start counseling.
I don't think it was counseling.
Okay.
I don't think the Arab Spring wasn't counseling.
There was.
The war in Iraq and war in Afghanistan was definitely not counseling.
Well, I'm talking about before the war.
It is an occupying.
Leading up to the war, it wasn't hostile from the beginning. You know, we always try to go in and be friends.
Oh wow, yes it was. If I can talk a little bit about the history of the Middle East and the USA and the US taking over from Britain in the Middle East. It was very much a
hostile takeover
force in that area. Yes, very much so. The need for oil, the oppressive need for oil,
right? And we couldn't get it from Russia.
So many communities in the Middle East. Yeah. So the U.S. went in there by force.
Because
there's been so much evidence now, declassified files of the American military participating in subverting democratic elections and
so that's my point.
Whichever leaders in control in that area. That's not counseling. That's not the kind of counseling that I was recommending.
My point was we start off as like we sell it as okay. We just want to counsel you and kind of give you ideas of how to do this, but it's never that. It's always the like this is gonna happen. We just want to try to politically do it the right way before we come in here and take it. You know, but we can get into that. for oh my God, like that can just go on for like ever. You being from the UK, I'm sure you're well informed. You know what I mean? But I want to get to some fun, man. Like, you know, this is the BPRC, and we try to have a little fun on here as well. So, and by the way, you're doing a great job with your intellect. So good kudos on that.
I got sure things like remember, these are just my opinions. I mean, I'd love to bring more evidence and more
facts,
works and books I can recommend on the subject. So I wouldn't necessarily say it's intellect; it's just borrowed knowledge.
So I think, but you know, that's interesting you say that, man, because, okay, so borrowed knowledge, it comes from research, it comes from reading, it comes from finding, right? But at the same time, intellect is from like a memory. You memorize that knowledge that you find. So that is your intellect, you know what I mean? That's a part of your intellect. And I just think that you are intelligent from that point.
I agree.
You know, you don't necessarily need to come with the facts all the time, because the facts are already in your head because you've seen it. You know, so now let's get to the game. I gotta find my intro music. I gotta find my intro music.
The thing about sharing. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. Go ahead. We got time.
Okay, you're free.
All right, so we're going to play a game. We're going to play 3 games. We're going to play Blackout, we're going to play Fill in the Blank, and then we're going to play Alphabet Soup.
Just while you're searching, I was just saying that, you know, I talk based on evidence, and that's what the evidence is showing. But new evidence will come to light, and, you know, you've got to be fluid.
Right, exactly. So let's just to bring the point back in for the listeners.
Yeah, sure, absolutely. I'm excited. Let's do it.
You have to really find your own answers and not necessarily listen to either side, because.
Hey Gary, you still there?
Yeah, I'm still here. Can you hear me? It looks like we're having some struggles. Hello, Sam? Okay. So we've had some difficulties with Sam, but just to bring the point home, and Sam, you can come back anytime you hear me, to bring home the point. You have to find your own facts. Research your own for yourself.
Yeah, just there's a bit of a delay.
Okay.
So that's okay.
Okay, so I was just saying for the audience members to don't listen to either side 100%.
Yeah, just a bit of a delay.
100%. You know. So all right, let's get to it, Sam. Let's get to the game. This is called Blackout. First game is called Blackout, and we got to do it like this. All right, that's Blackout. And the way the game goes is that I'm going to give you 30 seconds. And I'm going to tell you one category. And you need to name as many black people as you can in that one category. For example, if I say basketball, all you have to do is name black people who play professional basketball. And I understand we're on a delay, so he may not get it for a couple seconds. I hope he's there. Sam? Let's call Sam back, because we got to get this game. And I'm going to hang up on Sam, but I'm going to call him back. Let's call him right back and see if we can get to him. Maybe the connection was lost. WeChat is a funny thing. Are you there?
Hey, sorry.
Yeah.
I'm back.
Okay.
Yeah, there was just a bit of a delay.
Yeah, so I called you back. So look, we're going to play Blackout. And I'm going to give you 30 seconds and a topic. And you're going to name as many black people as you can in that topic. For example, If I say basketball, NBA, you just need to name as many black people and black players in the NBA in 30 seconds.
Okay.
All right? So I got the timer.
Now.
Yeah, I've got the timer. I'm going to give you a topic. Let me see what topic. Let me see what topic I can give you. All right, let's go with history.
History.
No.
Carter G. Woodson, Marcus.
No, wait. I got to give you 30 seconds. Don't start yet. Ready? All right, ready? Here we go.
Sure.
Go.
Carter G. Woodson, Booker T. Washington, Frederick Douglass, Madam C.J. Walker, Chancellor Williams, Cheikh Anta Diop. There's so many faces out of names. Toni Morrison, Maya Angelou.
And good job, though. Good job, man. I couldn't have done it. You got eight. That's pretty good.
Excellent. Okay.
That's a hard topic. All right, so and it's just in retrospect, like people, I don't tell you all, like I don't give you all the hints, but if I say history, you can do like sports figures. There's no black history is black history. It could be anyone.
Sure.
All right, so let's do alphabet soup. All right, so in alphabet soup, I'm gonna give you a letter. You have to say as many words that begin with that letter, but you cannot say names.
Okay, so you're saying that I can say as many words, but no names.
Exactly. For example, if I say the letter W, you can say...
Yeah, I need an example. Okay.
You can say water, willing, west, but you can't say William, Wesley. You get it?
Okay.
All right.
All right. Okay, I got you. All right. So just nouns. Nouns that I exist.
All right, so I'm going to let you redeem yourself, and I'm going to give you the letter G.
Okay.
All right, you ready? 30 seconds. Ready, and go.
Gold, gilded, geld, gild, given, grapes, goalkeeper, gatekeeper, jail, grass, gobbledygook,
Gobbledygook, okay.
granted, green.
Okay, so you got 12. I'm going to take away one for gobbledygook, because I don't know what that is. Unless you can.
That's a real thing. Gobbledygook is it means something that's confusing, or when you say something that makes sense.
Look,
You never heard of gobbledygook?
I've never heard anyone use that in a sentence. Okay. I've heard a baby use gobbledygook.
It definitely does.
Okay. All right. So.
No. Gobbledygook is when somebody talks nonsense. Like when Joe Biden makes a mistake because he can't remember what he's trying to say, and he says something that doesn't make any sense. That's gobbledygook. If Trump is having a press conference and somebody asks him a difficult question and he comes up with a response that he doesn't really know the answer about, so he just keeps talking even though he doesn't know what the words or the topic very well, that's gobbledygook.
Okay.
Basically when somebody just talks nonsense, it's gobbledygook.
So
the words coming out their mouth,
remember,
they don't make sense.
So remember, gobbledygook, you've learned something today. Can you spell that for us?
Gobbledygook. So Gobble, gobble D, Gobbledegok, I think.
Okay, gobbledygook. All I heard was gobble. So look, BPRC, we learn words here. We don't just talk about things. We learn words here. We learned a new word. We learned a new word today
I have to check the spelling
from my man Sam, who cannot spell it, but explains it very well. But we are not giving him a point for the word jail. Jail begins with a J.
No, jail. Jail begins with a G. G-A-O-L. Jail.
G-A-O-l? Okay.
G-A-O-L. Jail.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Again, I stand corrected. See, I told you this man was intelligent. He got words I never heard of nor ever seen before spelled. But if I had a team, I would fact check. But we're not going to even go there right now. You know what I'm saying? No, hell no. We fact checking that, Sam. Because I know we can't do that.
Yeah.
I'm fact checking that right now. Hold on. Gail.
Yeah. G-A-O-L. Yeah, G-A-O-L. Jail.
What the hell? Okay. That is... I don't know about that. It says G-A-O-L and jail, J-A-I-L comes up. So...
Yeah, it's the same word. It's like a different English, Old English and New English, if you will.
Oh, you see?
Old English. But yeah, jail is just like jail.
This has to be the most exciting episode ever because we're learning shit that you cannot learn this on any other podcast. You cannot learn Old English and New English anywhere else. Okay, thank you. Okay, all right. So look, we got one more. For you, and thank you for that. So look, your total score is 12. But I'm gonna give you an extra 4 points to boost you to 16 because you taught me something and you taught the listeners something. Okay? Excuse me, it's hot in here. All right, look.
Okay, good.
All right, so.
Excellent.
All right, fill in the blanks. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna say a phrase, and then I'm gonna say the word blank,
okay,
and you fill in the blank. I'm gonna give you.
Do that.
Yep, I'm gonna give you 5 seconds.
Complex.
I'm gonna give you 5 seconds to fill in the blank. You have to fill it in with 3 words or less.
Okay, all right, I'll try.
All right, here we go. Black blank matters.
Black brains matter.
Okay, black brains matter. Okay, no. Your first one counts. Whatever you say first, that's what counts. Black brains matter. Okay, next one.
Yeah.
Black people need to blank. Organize. Black people need to organize. Remember that. And remember, black brains matter. Next one.
Absolutely.
China's bathrooms are blank.
Sorry, China bathrooms?
They don't call them bathrooms. They call them toilets. China's toilets are blank.
Oh, okay. Wow.
Different. No other way to explain it. They're either dirty as hell or they're in the ground. All right.
They are. I only have 3 words or less, so I'm going for different.
Yes. Good. All right. Next one. We got 2 more. If a homeless person offered you blank, you would give them blank. Spit it out.
Sorry, say that one more time. Just the signal broke up. Say it again.
If a homeless person offered you blank, you would give them blank.
Oh wow, I can't hear what you're saying. You're gonna have to say this again. Every time you say it, you keep breaking up.
All right. If a homeless person offered you blank, you would give them blank.
Yeah. Okay. Sure. If a homeless person offered me their cup, I would give them advice.
Okay. I'm not sure what I guess a homeless person can find a cup for sure. The last one. If a waiter served you monkey brains without asking you, what would you say? You would say blank.
I would say, is this for me?
Okay. I like that. You better than me because I would say WTF. What the fuck?